And that's why we're gonna watch some retro horror movies. And I hope you are all ready for some terror 70s style. Because we're getting in the Wayback Machine. Yep, we're flying back in time to the 70s. To watch a movie I hope you're all going to enjoy. It's called Snow Beast. And it stars a very legendary, very hairy fellow you may know as Bigfoot. But guess what? He's not a nice Bigfoot. He's one that puts people on ice. People think they're going skiing, and instead they end up on a cold slab of a different kind, if you catch my drift. Because what happens is they think they're going to go on the bunny slope. You know, break it in. What they don't know is that Snowman is waiting for them. And he has a penchant for whacking people's heads off. He thinks it's fun to do like T-ball. He says, batter up! And then he just waits for them to come swinging around the corner. They like to show off and do some of their ski moves where they slant down on an angle and come in at high speed, and he is just waiting around the corner for them. Pow! And he just likes to club their heads off, send them flying through the air. It's like playing a game of tetherball, and he is Napoleon Dynamite, and he likes to whack it as hard as he can and send it soaring through the forest. And it's called, that's where the term snowball came from. That's originally the name of the game that he invented in the 70s. Well, this movie has to do with all things 70s. In fact, you could just say that this is basically just the 70s in a nutshell. Everything that goes down in the 70s is kind of the culmination of all these tumultuous events that were boiling over in the 70s, and they realized themselves in the psychotic monster known as Snow Beast. Snow Beast. Well, our story begins in the Colorado Rockies, where two people decide they want to try out their new jumpsuits. They have a bright orange and a dismal green outfit with bell bottoms, and they want to hit the slopes so they can try out some new moves. But it has not occurred to them that there may be a mythical beast living in the trees behind them. And he might have a rumbly belly because he's hungry right now. All of a sudden, they see giant footprints following them in the snow. Well, what do you think made these? Well, I'm sure it's just our imagination. Look, it's a giant mountain hippo. It's not what you're thinking, so cut it out. Hey, where you going? It's just a footprint. I'm sure nothing made it. But suddenly, something starts emerging from the trees. Something that's been watching them. Wait, what is that? Some sort of hippopotamus? Hippos aren't furry. They don't stand up on two legs and pound their chest. What if that's something different? Oh no, what's going to happen to me? I should get out of here, I suppose. After all, I'm on skis, but there's no time. It's getting closer. This could be the end of my life. Ah! Well, at the bottom of the mountain is a ski resort. They are getting ready for their winter carnival. But Tom, we just saw someone murdered off screen. How can I immediately put that behind me? Well, that's a transition the filmmaker chose to make. It's that harsh cut between a bloody death and then immediately it's juxtaposed with a family scene of joy and huckstering. But Tom, I have 1970s sensibilities, and that harsh jump cut between these scenes has left me shook. This old gal is Mama Jones, and she's the owner of the ski resort. And these are 70s people. Well, Tom, I have a feeling that some of them are going to die this evening. Well, that's a very good guess. Fun fact, one of them in the center is the Unabomber, and the other one is his decoy he uses to throw the police off. The fun is guessing which one is which. And this guy here is Donny Osmond. He is Mama Jones's grandson, and he's a ski instructor at the lodge. And next to him is Willie Ames, his good buddy. Willie tells Donny there's a lady outside. And she has been traumatized by a horrible experience. A lady? Well, she may need me to comfort her. You know, put my arms around her. But Donny, when my house burned down last week, you didn't put your arms around me. What? You're a dude. It's different. Look, that was a week ago. Get over it. Anyway, the lady tells Donny there is a monster hiding up in the mountains. A monster? That's the most idiotic thing tell me more. Well, it's a killer. It chewed up my friend Jennifer like a hamburger, and then spit her out like a Burger King hamburger. Listen, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ski up there, prove there's nothing there, as a favor to you, baby, and then I'll be right back to comfort you some more. In the meantime, why don't you slip into something a little more comfortable? Here's the keys to my apartment. You just build a nice fire, warm yourself, and I'll be right back to continue comforting you for as long as it takes. How does that sound? Donny skis up to the top of the mountain, but instead of finding Jennifer, he finds her tattered orange jumpsuit with claw marks on it. Very funny, Jennifer. You can come out now. Listen, I have plans this evening. Don't jerk me around. Donny goes back to the lodge and tells Mama Jones that there's been rumors of a monster on the mountain. That's more of your hot dog and mustard talk. Now you listen to me, pal. You just shut your yap. Because the winter carnival is starting, and I don't want people hearing any of your Bigfoot talk. Now get out of my office! Meanwhile, Gar and his woman have arrived at the ski lodge. Well, who's Gar? Gar is an ex-Olympian gold medalist. He's a world champion skier. He's also an old acquaintance of Donny Osmond's. And he's come to ask Donny for a job. As a ski instructor? No. He wants to fix microwaves and things like that. Why? Well, he has mysterious reasons that he keeps to himself. It was stupid to come here, Sharon. You're right. I'm an idiot. I'm the biggest jerk on earth. I've never said that. Donny comes out to greet them. Hey, Gar. Sharon! You look great. Let me give you a hug. Oh, wow. Wow. You've been working out. Very toned. Yes. You feel great, too. Thanks for saying that. Listen, Donny, I need to talk to you about something. Good, I need to talk to you about something too. Let's meet for bread bites and cheese sauce later. By the way, do you have any weapons? What? Do you have any guns or anything like that in your luggage? I have a decorative samurai sword in the trunk of the car. Good. Bring it with you. Donnie goes back outside and tells Willie to post a sign on the mountain that says, "Danger. Stay away." What danger? Could you be more specific? No, I can't be more specific, idiot! You just do what I tell you before I beat you! Willie gets a sign ready and skis up to the top of the mountain. But he hits a booby trap. That's right. Someone or something was expecting him. He goes flying off the side of a cliff and is barely hanging on. Oh, it's gonna be all right. Donnie will come save me. I think I hear his footsteps now, approaching. Oh, it's gonna be all right. I'll be feeling hot cocoa on my face in no time. Instead, he gets to feel hot blood on his face. Because that wasn't Donny Osmond approaching. It was someone even hairier. Someone who knows how to make booby traps. Not far away, the Jerk family is picking out a Christmas tree. They've driven up to the mountains. This is Jerk Dad, the idiot father of the family. And this is little Johnny. He's a scamp. He loves to run and play. He's gonna go inside the barn and play with a pitchfork and some hay bales. But all of a sudden, little Johnny stops laughing. He walks out of the barn and stands there silently. Jerk Dad tries to talk to him, but he doesn't respond. He just stares at the ground like a deaf and dumb idiot. He's autistic now. Jerk Dad goes into the barn to find out what horrified his son. And he sees a pile of meat and eyeballs. And he realizes that it used to be a human being. Well, he stumbles out of the barn like a drunk person and vomits on the ground. Then collapses and cries like a kitten. His woman and child just stare at him and feel ashamed at his weakness. That afternoon, Donny Osmond arranges to have a sit-down with Sharon over coffee, so they can get reacquainted. He can reach across the table and put his hand on hers. A reassuring thing. Well, she tells him that Gar's been having a rough patch. He won the gold medal at the 1968 Olympics. He was a national hero. But ever since then, he never skied again. He's been trying to do some odd jobs, but nothing's really been working out for him. I hear what you're saying. Your man's a loser and you feel unfulfilled. No, that's not what I'm saying. When they get up, Donnie says, "Listen, we just had coffee and this is crazy, but why don't we meet for a fruit cup later?" I have to wash my car tonight, Donnie. Later that day, Gar and Donnie meet at the hot tub so they can get some bro time in. Well, Gar tells him that he's been unemployed for a long time. And that's why he's here. He needs to find a job. Donnie says, "Well, I think we have an opening for you here. But first, let me ask you something. Are you still a pretty good shot with a rifle?" "I'm the best shot in the West, you know that. I took gold in the decathlon." "Great. Why don't we go inside and talk some more? I need a mani-pedi." "Gar, what do you know about a creature named Bigfoot?" "Bigfoot? That's something stupid people talk about." "Yeah, well, up till yesterday I would have agreed with you. But now we got these meat piles showing up." "Meat piles?" "Yeah, it's when a Sasquatch massacres someone. They call it meat piles, because all that's left is a disgusting pile of meat." "And these meat piles are showing up now, huh?" "Yep. Word on the street is there's a Yeti on top of the mountain. It's killing skiers left and right. And as you can see, I'm running a skiing operation here, so that's not really good for business, now is it? That's why I gotta go kill this thing. But it's not a one-man job.
I need my bro with me. What do you say?
I say, where do you keep the ammo around here, buddy?
That's what I was hoping your response would be, dude.
But what the guys don't know is that Sharon has decided to go skiing. Oh no. Well, she's up there on top of the mountain when she notices some giant footprints in the snow.
Now why would a huge fat person be walking around naked up here?
This here is Sheriff Elvis. He has discovered a meat pile on the mountain that he wants Donnie to come identify.
Well, here I am. Do you want me to have a look at her face?
Well, that's the problem, Donnie. She doesn't have one anymore. What are you gonna do about this, Elvis? Well, I guess we'll have to identify the meat with X-rays so that we can notify her family. And tell them what? Just the truth. That an avalanche got her. Wake up and smell the Java, Elvis. A Bigfoot pounded her with his fist until she turned into Spam. And you know it. Meanwhile, Sharon continues her ski day, oblivious to what's happening around her. She sees more tracks in the snow.
Why would someone be walking around with a pet hippopotamus? And why would they leave a perfectly good pile of meat here? Why does this pile of meat look like Willie Ames?
And now it's time for the Winter Carnival to begin. The opening gala is being held in the school gymnasium tonight. As you can see, the festivities are retro-themed this evening. Some of the guests even dressed up like Sally Field and Burt Reynolds. To kick off the ceremony is the Snow Queen, seen here with her late 70s entourage. She's going to judge people's haircuts. All of a sudden, the Snow Queen starts screaming! And it's not because they ran out of mint julep again.
It's because the snow beast is in the window! And it's ready to kill!
Well, all the early 80s people lose their minds. They frig out and run for it. They even leave their Coors Light calendars behind. The Yeti is ready for his next meal, and so he busts through the window and starts letting the bodies hit the floor. By the way, this is the Snow Queen's mom outside. She just showed up. She's about 15 minutes late. She has no idea what's going on. But she's about to find out. Well, before you can say lickety-split, the abominable snowman punches through the window and turns this lady into a double beef from Taco Bell. Well, in the midst of all this mayhem, Gar's survival instincts kick in. And so he starts knocking people down so that he can get away. He punches a little kid in the face. He uses a dead baby for a human shield until the danger passes. Then he hides in a janitor's closet until the police get there. Well, the snow beast eats about a dozen people, and then he climbs back up to the top of the mountain to sleep off the good meal he just ate. This is a very exciting evening for him. It really came together the way he was hoping it would. But the evening kind of caps off here with the Snow Princess discovering what used to be her mother. When she opens the car door, at first she thinks it's a very messy jelly donut that got everywhere. But then she realizes that pile of meat is what used to be her mama. The next morning, two janitors have to clean everything up.
Shoo-wee! Have you ever seen such a mess? Boy, it looks like somebody was going around exploding cans of chili.
They start loading Mama Jones up into the ambulance.
She says, Gar, this is the end for me.
Nonsense, you're gonna make it.
No, I'm in the tunnel. I can see the white light. But I just want you to do one thing for me.
Anything, Mama Jones. And I mean anything.
I want you to find that giant monkey. And I want you to kill it. But I don't want you to kill it in just 1 second. I want you to make it suffer. You feel me? And then I want you to hang its hide on the ski ledge wall for all my guests to see it. In fact, you can cancel my funeral. Use the expenses to hang that beast from the rafters of my ski lodge.
After the ambulance doors close, Gar slaps the back of the vehicle and said, "Let's rock and roll, guys. You can drive this thing to the morgue. The delicate part is over." That afternoon, a celebration breaks out. Everyone runs outside because the monster is dead now. Sheriff Elvis went to the top of the mountain and gunned it down. But when Gar and Donnie run outside to see the monster, it's not a Bigfoot at all. It's a cow. Our main characters are very disappointed in Sheriff Elvis. They look at him and say, "You sold out, man." Well, Donnie, I guess it's up to us to get revenge for all the dead bodies around here. Sharon, I'm going up to the top of the mountain, and I may not come back. I just want you to know, I'm sorry I failed you in this life.
Gar, what are you talking about?
I know you're disappointed in me because I used to be an Olympics guy. But that was like 3.5 years ago.
Gar, the Olympics are kind of a rare thing. They don't happen every day.
They don't?
No. Gar, you're my hero every day.
Really?
Yes, Gar. I like you for who you are, not what medal you have.
Thanks.
Is that why you stopped skiing?
Yeah. I just felt like a big loser because it was all downhill from there. I just knew it was a matter of time before you viewed me as a washed-up has-been. Our heroes drive up to the top of the mountain in their camper van and set up a base camp. But what they don't know is that someone is watching them. Someone who looks like a teddy bear. A 12-foot tall teddy bear. That's right, it's Snow Beast. And he has a little counterattack planned. He goes to where there's a bunch of logs stacked up, and he kicks them over. And they start rolling down the mountain when she comes. Gar looks up and says, "Oh my John Silver, this can't be happening." Gar and Donnie jump out of the way just in time. But the logs knock over the camper, and Elvis was in there, making avocado toast for himself. As the monster approaches, Elvis knows that his ticket's been punched. I only wish I had watched more TV. Abused alcohol more. Our heroes run into the woods to regroup. Oh, good thing we barely escaped. I know. Too bad we had to leave Elvis behind, though. I know. His screams will haunt me for the rest of my life. But at least we're not dead. I agree, we did the right thing. Anyway, we can't give up now. We've had a setback, but we've got to return fire. I have a plan. You see, there's 2 flare guns in the glove box of that camper van. We gotta get back down there and grab them and use them as weapons. Here's the plan. You run and wave your arms and be a distraction. I'll climb in there, grab the guns, and we'll finish this job. The action begins. Gar runs up and distracts the Bigfoot while Donnie climbs into the cab of the truck and pulls out a flare gun. Good, they can signal for help. No, he's gonna kill the thing with it. But when he shoots the flare, the Bigfoot does a flip, like in the Matrix, and dodges it. Well, Donnie says we have 1 gun left, and he throws it to Gar. And Gar catches it and says, "Don't worry, I'll finish him off." As Gar reaches the top of the mountain, he realizes he's skied right into a trap. He's in Bigfoot world now. And this is the final showdown. All of a sudden, the creature appears. At last, he's face to face with Snow Beast, the mass murderer, the maker of meat piles. Gar fires his weapon, and it hits Snow Beast right in the chest, and flares out like a Roman candle. Yes, the puny weapon has zero effect, and the giant creature charges at him. The beast comes running at Gar at 50 miles an hour. But Gar has a last-second idea. He grabs a broom handle that he sees laying on the ground, and he jams it between the branches of a tree and impales Snow Beast. He uses the creature's running method to hoist him upon his own broom. And the creature impales itself like a religious icon and hangs there like a ransom sacrifice before collapsing to the ground and sliding to the bottom of the hill. Donnie comes running up and says, "You did it, Gar! You killed Snow Beast!" "Wrong, bro. Our friendship killed Snow Beast. Now let's go get that bread bites and cheese sauce you were talking about." "Okay, I'll race you to the bottom of the hill. We can ski." "Hey, I've got an even better idea. Why don't we sled down?" "Hey, that's a good idea. We can make a sled out of the camper van's back door. There should be room for 3 on there." "Sounds perfect. Then we can sit in the hot tub again." "Yes, why don't we have a fruit cup this evening?" "Alright. Then we can get interviewed by the newspapers and be famous." "Yes, this is going to be the perfect day for us." The end.
I think the Snow Beast set a trap for him.
Yes, you may be onto something there.
Yes.
Is it possible, because of the white snow, is it possible that he tied together tube socks and then laid trap for Andy Gibb? And at the precise moment, he pulled it tautly.
He fashioned together something. Yes.
And I also have a theory of my own. That, by the way, if you're wondering what that snort and grunt was, well, we think there may be a snow beast outside the window of this house as well, and that's why we're staying in. The teenage girl comes out to the Ford Bronco and finds that her mother has been massacred. Her head's been ripped off, turned into sausage by Snow Beast, and then we cut to the next morning when Dunkin' Donuts man is standing there with his mustache and all and commenting about what a mess it is. Someone just died brutally and he's worried about how he's gonna clean it up. What a slob. Why would they hire onto the Snow Patrol a man who looks like it's 1982 and he's got to go make the donuts?
Welcome everyone to our second feature presentation this evening. It's a box office blast from 1936. It's called Revolt of the Zombies. I just hope you're not afraid of zombies though, because one or two might pop up this evening. A little bit of trivia for you at home. This movie is based on strange tales brought home from the battlefields of World War I. Tales of zombies. I just want you to ruminate on that when you get into your jammies tonight. Our story begins in the jungles of Cambodia. This guy here on the left is Lieutenant Luke, an interpreter in the French army, and he's been summoned by his commanding officer to explain how an entire regiment of soldiers just got decimated by a handful of shoeless natives. Luke tells him these were no ordinary natives. They were superhumans. They walked through bullets, felt no pain. They were like robots. What's a robot? Says the man. Listen, they were like zombies. They were impervious to pain and emotion and feeling. Fah, jump bug, says the man. Well, this guy over to the side is a Buddha man. And the general wants Luke to interrogate him because he is the spiritual leader of the natives, and the general wants to know how he's turning them into killing machines that are indestructible. Well, he's not giving up his secrets, though. He remains silent. Luke even tries humiliating him, pointing out that he's dressed like a homeless man. He's wearing a getup. Well, apparently that doesn't hurt his feelings because he remains like a statue. The commanding officer wants Luke to rough this guy up a little bit until he feels like talking. You know, tenderize him. Because he needs to find out the secret of how the Buddhas are creating these robot warriors. He says it must be some sort of drug or potion that the Buddha man is giving the natives to turn them into super soldiers. But Luke disagrees. You see, he's a student of Cambodian culture, and he thinks that the Buddha man is using mental telepathic ability to mesmerize the natives, take over their minds, and, well, he uses mental concentration, you see, to override their nervous systems, turn off their feelings, and supercharge them with adrenaline power. Ah, says the general. That's more of your donut shop talk. The commanding officer tells Luke that he's an idiot. Get out of my sight. So Luke goes outside, and that's his friend Cliff Huxtable sitting there. He says, "How did it go?" "Well, he told me I'm stupid. He hates me." "Well, you're not stupid, but your problem is you're too civilized and polite. You gotta be ruthless in this world. If you want to get ahead in this man's army, you gotta get rough." "I don't want to be a rough person." "Well, doesn't matter. You gotta throw your elbows around. Pound your fist on the table. If you see a puppy dog, grab it by the ears and swing it around." "What?" As punishment for not cooperating, the general places the Buddha man under house arrest. And he holds a conference of the Allied powers to decide what to do next.
"Why, if these zombies overrun our forces, they could storm the entire Earth and kill everyone. What will happen to me? I need to live. I love French pastry."
"Yes, I hear you. Don't worry, I have a plan. If it's the secret of the zombies you seek, I may know where to find it," says Count Zohan, an Algerian advisor. "The secret of all things mystical in Cambodia lies in the forbidden city of Angkor Wat." "Angkor Wat? But that's just a legend." "Actually, the lost city has recently been discovered by an Englishman named Dumbledore and his lovely daughter." That night, the Buddha man is in his quarters bowing to a false god when a shadowy figure sneaks up behind him and beats him to death with a baseball bat. You see, the killer wanted this shroud with a pictorial on it that the Buddha man was praying to.
"Curses! I killed for this item, but it's indecipherable. There's no one left alive on Earth who can read it. I didn't think ahead."
The French contingent goes to Angkor Wat and meets Professor Dumbledore, a famed archaeologist from the British Museum. They tell him about the zombies that are happening out there. How they have no souls. How they're unstoppable and have no fear. They tell him that they have to search the ruins until they find the ancient secret of this power and destroy it forever. Professor Dumbledore also has a daughter named Lucy, and she is a junior archaeologist. "It's a pleasure to meet you," says Luke. "Oh my," says Lucy. "I wasn't expecting to meet such a gentleman out here in the jungle." Lucy is excited to finally have a translator who can read ancient Cambodian. And so, she and Luke spend the day walking amongst the ruins, looking at old stones and hieroglyphics. "What do these pictures say?" "Oh, it's a marvelous story," says Luke, "about the first king of Angkor Wat, a man who mesmerized people with his willpower. He commanded great armies of indestructible men, but in the end, he gave it all up for love." Lucy looks at the ground and says, "Luke, if you had authority, would you give it up for love?" "I can't say. I've never known either in my life." That night, Luke and his roommate Cliff Huxtable are getting ready for bed, and he tells him all about the girl he met today, Lucy. Tells him about the fun day they had together. Hey, good for you, sports fan. Yes, this Saturday night is the professor's banquet, and I'm going to ask Lucy if she'd like to go look at the stars together. That's swell, champ. That Saturday night, at the professor's banquet, the guests are being entertained by an Ooga Booga dancer. The barefoot natives play their Congo drums, dance around in a circle, and wiggle. Well, this is the big moment Luke's been waiting for all night. The banquet is wrapping up now, and so he asks Lucy if she'd care to go for a walk in the garden. They can enjoy the summer night together and look up at the stars. "Well, Luke, that sounds very nice. But Cliff Huxtable already asked me to go look at the stars with him." "He did?" "Yes, just a few minutes ago. He says he's going to teach me the constellations. In fact, he was very ruthless about it." The next week, Professor Dumbledore and his team are working to cut away branches and jungle trees away from the surface of Angkor Wat so they can uncover the secret of the hypno-zombies. But suddenly, the scaffolding Dumbledore is sitting on, well, the rope gives way, and he falls 100 feet to the ground below. Splat! Luke rushes over and says, "Professor, are you all right?" "Luke, my boy, my spinal column is snapped in half. But those are the breaks. Get it? You see what I did there? It's a little joke. Lighten the mood." "I've got to rush him to a hospital," says Luke. "Good idea," says Cliff Huxtable. "I'll stay here and comfort Lucy." Luke spends 2 weeks walking through the jungle, carrying the professor in his arms, and then another 2 weeks walking back. The good news is, the professor is going to be fine. Well, he has a new wheelchair now. It's even better than a spine. He can roll around. He can enter races, inspire people. "Luke, I want to thank you for helping him. But I can't see you anymore." "Why not?" "Well, while you were gone, Cliff and I became very close. And he asked me not to talk to you again." Luke returns to his work and tries to focus. But all of a sudden, he starts crying. A few weeks ago, his life seemed perfect, and now it's all crumbling to pieces before his eyes. He's lost Lucy to a scoundrel. Professor Dumbledore is crippled for life, and they've made zero progress in the expedition. The army is thinking of canceling it. It seems everything is turning black with darkness. Then something happens. Luke notices a photo of the wall relief Professor Dumbledore was inspecting when he suddenly and mysteriously fell. He looks at the strange figures that they couldn't make heads or tails of. And he remembers something. It reminds him of the professor's banquet, in which the costumed natives performed a ritual ceremony. Luke tells Short Round to pack his travel bag because he's going back inside the Temple of Angkor Wat, the Mystery Pyramid.
No, monsieur. Please, don't go in there. You stay inside tonight. We'll make a spaghetti.
Why don't you want me to go in there?
Because, senor, there is a ghost in there. He's so dangerous.
Pshaw, says Luke. I have work to do, and I'm not taking no for an answer this time. Our hero Luke ignores all warnings and voyages... It's not really a voyage, is it? Well, he goes to Angkor Wat. For what reason, we don't know. But what he doesn't know is someone is following him. Why, that's Count Zohan. That's right. He is silently creeping behind Luke in the night. Well, Tom, he looks like the man who sold my mother a dining room rug. Luke uses his flashlight to search the throne room. It also doubles as a lightsaber. He built it himself. He pretends it's a lightsaber. Pretends the beam of light is a sword. And he sees statues of dead gods, evil spirits, and other pagan entities. He shines his flashlight and sees a bat on the ceiling. Oh! For a moment I thought it was Count Dooku. But what he doesn't know is that is the Count. Because he's a vampire! And he can transform into a vampire bat at will. And that's how he follows Luke everywhere and knows exactly what he's doing. Because he can transform. All of a sudden a trap door opens. And Luke falls through. And it sends him down a slipper slide. Well, the slide goes all through the mazes and tunnels of the entire temple. It takes him on a long slide. It's like a video game. But then it deposits him in a secret lower level of the temple that no one has ever known about. But the vampire bat has transformed back into Count Zohan again. And he is following Luke very closely. Well, Tom, he looks like the man that sells gyros in the mall food court. Luke sneaks down the hallway and then hides behind a pillar while he spies on a group of wicked Buddhists holding a ritual to their false god. After the occult ceremony finishes, one of the little men carries the religious relic outside through another opening of the temple, a secret passageway out to the river Ho Chi Minh, and he begins wading through the waters into the dark heart of the jungle. Luke is curious to see where the little guy is going, and so he sneaks behind him in water. The Buddha monk goes to a giant temple. It's deep in the jungle. No one's ever seen it before. It's undiscovered. And the little guy goes in there, and then a few minutes later he comes out and disappears back into the jungle. Well, Luke says, this may be my big break that I've been looking for to solve this case. So he goes in there to check it out. He goes inside and finds an altar erected to the false Babylonian gods Baal and Marmaduke. And he also finds the religious relic that the Buddha man left there. It's a miniature replica of the temple relief depicting a strange ritual. that Luke believes is connected to the zombie epidemic. He also sees a button on the side of the altar. And he says, I wonder what this does. Well, when Luke pushes the candy red button, it opens a secret panel on the wall that is inscribed with an incantation of the first king of Angkor, written in words that Luke is able to translate. Yes. Well, Luke rushes back to base camp to tell his superior about this amazing discovery. He finally knows the secret of how zombies become spellbound. But the little man in charge is thick. He says, "Don't ever bring up your stupid theories around me again, idiot. I'm demoting you. Now don't ever talk about your stupid ideas, you dumb fool." Well, Luke has finally had enough. He's tired of people walking all over him while he continues to do the right thing. He's tired of doing the right thing. He's ready to try doing the bold thing. He's ready to start doing that thing you do. He's ready to try some of that bold barbecue sauce. See how spicy it is. He recites the magic words he learned at the temple. And he casts a spell on Short Round. That's right. Short Round is a zombie now. Later that night, Count Dooku suddenly appears in Luke's quarters and tells him that he's been following him at night, and he knows that he solved the mystery of the zombies. A secret that Count Dooku has been after for some time. That's why he's been the one that's been killing people. What? The Buddhist monk that was beaten with the baseball bat. That was no accident. Or what about when Professor Dumbledore took his little tumble like Jack and the Beanstalk? You mean you were behind that? Yes. And guess what? Unless you hand over that translation to me, I'll kill you too, buddy. So why don't you be a good puppy and hand it over? Well, when you put it that way, doesn't sound like I have a choice. No, you most certainly don't, buddy. I see what you're saying. Well, have a seat and we'll talk it over. Well, I might as well show you how it works. Very well, begin the demonstration. Well, it goes like this. First, you put your hands over your eyes and recite the magic words. And then you gotta visualize what it is you want to happen. The way that I'm visualizing right now what I want to happen, which is Short Round choking you until you pass out. What? Well, Short Round puts him in a chokehold until he falls asleep. He takes a NyQuil nap. Good job, Short Round. Now, I want you to carry him and put him in a coffin. And then, put a heavy brick on top of the coffin because he's a vampire. So we don't want him to wake up and try to get out. But once again, good job. Yes, Luke has now mastered the art of telepathic ability. And within a matter of days, he turns all the people of Cambodia into his undead army. He even decides to get a little payback on his old buddy Cliff.
What's happening to me? I'm frozen like a statue.
Well, Cliff, the same way Dr. Faustus uncovered the secret of renewed youth through alchemy, I have uncovered the secret of ultimate power through Hypnotica.
What are you gonna do to me?
Well, I'm going to make you eat grass. Like a moo cow. You're going to eat grass every day from now on.
That's so mean, though.
Well, someone once told me to get ahead, you gotta be rough and ruthless. Remember when you said that, Cliff?
Yeah, but I didn't think you'd do this.
Well, Saturday night rolls around, and Luke is getting ready for his date with Lucy. You see, she came and begged him to stop making Cliff moo and eat grass like a cow. Well, he said he'd consider it if she will go walking underneath the stars with him Saturday night. And she agreed to those terms. And so, Luke is very excited. Until Professor Dumbledore comes wheeling into the room and says, "Luke, my boy, you've changed." "You bet I've changed. I'm not a loser anymore. I happen to like the guy you were talking about, win or lose. And I can't say I approve of your new methods." "Yeah, well, all's fair in love and war. That's what they say, right? It's called the game of life." "In my experience, it's best played as a gentleman's game." That night, Luke goes to pick up Lucy for their date. But she is cold to him. She won't even look at him. "Are you ready to go see the stars? I know all the constellations. I can show them to you." "Oh, why don't you just turn me into a zombie already?" "Well, I don't want to turn you into a zombie. I want you to like me." "Like you? How could I like a man who abuses people?" It's not like that. I just command people. I'm just like the Lost King of Angkor. You remember in the stories we read? I command mighty armies. I'm the most powerful man in Asia now. Aren't you impressed by my power? Your power comes from mistreating other people, Luke. You're the weakest little man I know. At that moment, Luke realizes all he wanted has misfired. His vanity, his ego, has ruined all he loved. "Lucy, do you remember the story we read? The Lost King and how he threw it all away for love? I understand it now." At that moment, Luke releases his army of zombie soldiers. They realize that they have their souls and personalities returned to them, and they rise up and form an angry mob. Lucy hears voices and shouting outside. "Luke, what's happening?" "I've released everyone, Lucy. Cliff too, he'll be fine." "No, Luke, you can't!" "It's too late." "No, you've got to run and hide! If they catch you, they'll tear you to pieces!" "None of that matters now." The angry natives arrive at the house and break down the front door. "No, please, don't!" says Lucy, but the natives ignore her and open fire on Luke. As the hot lead pierces his body, Luke thinks of all the people he zombified. All the souls he vacated, and how none of them were as lonely and empty as his own. He was the zombie. Cliff Huxtable arrives and runs inside the house to check on Lucy. "Are you all right?" She points at Luke's dead body on the ground. "Oh, Cliff, why did this have to happen?" "Because whom the gods destroy, they first make a man." Fenice.
Anyway, folks, we just wanted to bring out a miniature replica of the Snow Beast,
Yes.
so that you could get a size comparison. This is roughly half size,
Yes.
but you get an idea of the monster in the movie. Yes, the claw swipes we reenact. See, we're trying to film a sequel for the movie, and so we're reenacting the paw swipes that were very popular. But I happen to have my own theory about an alternate ending of the movie. You see, I think the Donny Osmond character originally intended for Gar to get killed by the Snow Beast, because it seemed like he was leading up to a nice little conclusion for himself, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
He had it worked out where Gar would get red-shirted.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I think that's kind of what he had in mind, that this will, and you can't blame the guy, it's just amateur psychology. He foresaw that this was how it was going to unfold, that Gar would die a horrible, senseless death, and he would comfort Gar's wife.
Yes.
And then the 70s outro music would play, and, freeze frame. But I think what happened is the TV producers ran it by a test audience that didn't see things the same way. And so they said, can the Donny Osmond character die instead? Because we'd clap for that ending, but they found a compromise. Because when the producers came to him and saying that the screen audiences would prefer for him to die a very gruesome death, well, he said, you know what? Why does anyone have to die? Let's both be, I'll shoot the Snow Beast and he'll finish it off with the snow stick. We both are heroes. No one has to die. And so I think they found a compromise there, but originally I think Donny Osmond had it in for his old buddy Gar, because he was really, I think he put pen to paper and really wrote the lead up to that, and so I'm just throwing that out there. Am I in the ballpark? Yeah, I think I am.